Oh, we back. We live. Sometimes things must get way worse before they can get way better. I mean, the feds just play a whole different ball game, right? I mean, this is still an early situation for Little Durk. It feels like just a couple weeks ago, he faced his initial indictment after his arrest, right? When it comes to the Little Durks of the world, the Diddies of the world, even Jay-Z, possibly. They just got so much more that they're gonna go through, and it's fucked up. I don't want to sit here and try to put guilt on anybody. There are a lot of things that were left behind over the years on the internet. So when we focus specifically on Little Dirk, after we discuss this second murder for hire that was just placed on him, we're going to go through a bunch of videos that I pulled up just to give a little backstory and references and possible clues to what this second murder for hire is about. The whole Slide for Vaughn campaign, it was a big internet trolling epidemic. And Little Dirk, he spoke to it, he answered it, he referenced it, he rapped about it, he interviewed about it, he addressed it in so many different ways. Whether it was over your head stuff, whether it was subliminals, or whether it was just straight to the point here, right in your face. And before we close this video out, that's another topic I want to get back to. It's something that we discussed several times on this channel and on this podcast. Lyrics in court, lyrics in indictments, okay? And some of that is what we're going to pull up on the screen. But let's make sure we all, catch up and see what this second murder for hire that they put on Little Durk is about. Let's catch up. Little Durk linked to second murder in new unsealed indictment report. All right. Lil Durk is reportedly being linked to the murder of a Chicago man in 2022 in a newly unsealed indictment. Lil Durk linked to a 2022 murder. Durkio appears to have more legal problems on his hands. On Thursday, December 12th, which is today, the Chicago Tribune reported an indictment unsealed on Wednesday, December 11th, reveals prosecutors are connecting Durk to the murder of Stefan Mack, who was shot and killed after he exited the Youth Peace Center in Chicago on January 27, 2022. Authorities believe Mack was the leader of the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples, who may have been responsible for the 2021 killing of Durk's brother, Derek, OTF D Thang Banks. Everybody hears the name D Thang a lot in Durk's lyrics. You see him get it stitched on his hat. You see him wear the t-shirts. D Thang. They share the same last name. That is his blood brother. Durk has not been charged in the Chicago crime. The indictment was originally filed in April. Pay attention to that. In April of 2023 and only unsealed this week. Let's stop there for a second. This was filed April 2023 and only unsealed this week. I'm sorry, but I have no reason but to believe that this is what we continue to say. When they on you, they on you. I don't care how many turkeys you pass out. I don't care how much, religion you try to now practice. I don't care how much you try to change your music or go do community service. And I'm not trying to say that was all ungenuine by Little Durk or anybody else under these circumstances, right? Hint, hint. But when they on you, they on you. And you just, well, it could be months, it could be years. They will be there. And what's even more wicked to a degree is, let's say they believe they really, really got you, for lack of better words, red-handed. There's still court process. There's still that federal 90+% conviction rate. So that means that you could literally sit out there still, and you'll have this whole faction of possibly the feds or a group of people running some whatever Operation Clean Sweep. You know how they always be putting these little clever names on the operations that they're running. Operation Get Durkio, Operation Drills Over, right? And it should be running for years. And they got all types of evidence and songs and screenshots and articles and all types of stuff that they just mounting up, files and files and files and pictures and all this stuff that they putting together. And if you just ask the common person, We got all this stuff. We've been investigating this person or these people for, let's say, hypothetically, 2 years, April 2023, whatever, 1 year, right? We got all this stuff. Do you believe this person is guilty? Yes. Are you going to go after him, right? And put an indictment on him and try to bring him into custody? No. Why? Because they want to wait until it's 100% full fledged. No different than what they did to John Gotti. Who the fuck thought John Gotti was legitimate? Let's be real. Let's be real. But they just sit there and they just wait. It's like we got to continue to mount. And the fucked up thing is, I'm not talking about Durk, but imagine to be a federal agent and you're investigating somebody for a year plus. You're on some Donnie Brasco shit. But in the process of it, you're still watching alleged murders happen. You're still watching alleged laws being broken. But it's just not the moment yet to go. And you're still watching all this shit happen on your watch. Crazy. Donnie, all these, it's real. It's art imitates life. When Donnie Brasco is sitting there and he's damn near turning into a mafioso his damn self, he's still watching them catch bodies. And he was in the basement when they caught bodies and all that, right? He still was, but it wasn't time to say, all right, go grab him. Crazy. April 2023, this was filed, and yet it was unsealed this week. Sitting on this type of shit. Wow. Scary, spooky. Everybody, once again, stay out the streets. Let's continue. Authorities say Durk was born. Durk banks continue to offer bounties for those responsible for his brother's death. Lil Durk was and still is offering money for people to kill those responsible for his brother's murder, and more specifically, offering to pay money for any gangster disciple, any GD that is killed, a federal agent wrote in April 2023. The BD and GD war has claimed way too many lives. Allegedly, let's say allegedly for this stuff, but it has claimed too many lives. Wow. J Main, where you at? You better step up the whole push and peace movement, man, because this is. Oh, okay. Let's continue. The unsealed indictment comes days after Durk is slated to have a detention hearing for his murder for hire case on December 16th. So that's 4 days from now, where he's accused of masterminding the attempted murder of a rival rapper, Quando Rondo, in August of 2022. In that case, feds say Durk hired 5 men to avenge the death of his artist, King Von, who was shot and killed by a Quando Rondo associate following a fight outside an Atlanta hookah lounge in 2020. Wow. Side note, y'all see that Quando Rondo, he was just sentenced, I believe. I think he's going in to start serving his time in January. And I believe he's got something close to around about 2 years. Right. He had his own, a separate, a drug case or something like that. So it's just like, look at the trail of all these young men involved. But anyway, let's get back to Durk specific and stay with me, folks. We're going to bring up some more of these videos in a second. The Slide 4 campaigns. I'm not here to indict anybody or put guilty or not guilty. I'm just here for realistic, logical, keeping it 100 opinions, good conversation as we discuss the topics involving people that we have followed for. I was just texting about this. I was saying, like, it's a difference between listening to these news anchors get on, some of these news reporting channels and say, rapper Lil Durk, aka Durk Kayo, like they can't even pronounce the fucking names correctly. These are people that we've followed for years. These are people where we've taken in their music, we supported them, we go to their shows, we listen to their records in the car, in the gym, and all this type of stuff. And when they go through these type of things, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to walk away with. For some of y'all, this is pure entertainment. For me, some of the type of news that we cover on this channel absolutely does entertain us, of course. But I try to find something to learn from everything that we cover. Everything. And to think like logically, people, I think if I put 100 people in a room, I'm just being 1,000. If I put 100 people in a room, 100 people of the hip hop culture, 100 people of the hip hop culture that follow drill music, that have a good level of street knowledge, have a good level of understanding of who Little Durk is, his character, and who he's been portrayed to be all these years. And I asked those 100 people, and I say, in some form or another, do you believe that Little Durk slid for King Von? I can assure you, even if I go put the poll up on Twitter, more than 60% would say yes. More than half, more than 60% would say, whether we're going to say it was, obviously what's got him sitting down right now related to Little Pop getting killed out in Beverly Hills, California, or something else. When we listen to the music, when we watch the interviews, when we see his confidence, when you to take it back or come get it in blood and all that with him and Pooh Shiesty, and he's just like the confidence of, you know, how does Pooh Shiesty start the song? He's like, if you ain't slid or get no get back for your deceased, like you shouldn't be wearing no rest in peace shirt. And he's got Little Durk in the video with him. Little Durk can't confidently rap behind that unless he done did some shit or was involved or feels confident about where he stands in relation to King Von's murder. And I just laid all that out to say, if he's willing to do anything behind King Von, why wouldn't he be willing to do something for his blood brother? Especially if something happened to his blood brother related to the gang war, the whole BD&G. We're talking about him being linked right now to the second murder for hire. And what did they say? They said this was an alleged GD that was killed, and that allegedly Lil Durk is putting money on GD's heads, right? So if this was an alleged gang or BDGD war related shooting involving his brother D Thang, his blood, why the fuck would we assume that, oh no, he would never do nothing for D Thang, but he would do it for Vaughn? Let's get into some of these other videos. Every video that I'm about to bring up right now is either months or years prior to today's news, right? And this is what I mean about the internet. Why do people say the dry snitching or straightforward snitching on the internet is rampant? Why do they say that detectives and police and all these different authority agencies can just sit back and look at Instagram and Twitch and Twitter and all these platforms and piece together these crimes? Because there's actually a lot of truth. I'm not saying all, but there's actually a lot of truth to these puzzles that get put together on the fucking internet. Let's say hypothetically, I'm not from the hip hop culture, but I'm a detective and I'm assigned to some case that involves Little Durk, right? I have nothing to do with his music. Now, if I go spend 8 months getting familiar and I go get on Reddit and I watch 5 to 10 of these popular podcasts that follow these people, and I watch people like Trap Law and his Trap Law Ross and his documentaries, and I see this stuff getting put together. It gets past, oh, this logically is a possibility. It starts getting to the point where these are things that I can actually now go into the street and track down. I can go put some type of work towards and say, oh, wait, I was able to pull on a witness here. I was able to read this on Reddit and then go over here and subpoena the footage and see like, oh shit, he actually was there. I was able to go subpoena these flights. You see what I'm saying? And the internet, the same way we say these authority figures ain't stupid, the internet ain't stupid neither. Sometimes these people do it from areas of infatuation, or they just be that invested in these artists, or they could just be like me and you, where it's like we watch these people, listen to these people for one form of entertainment or another for years. So when something happens with them, we're already familiar, right? If Jay-Z gets brought up with in some topic involving women, and let's say hypothetically, or I should say allegedly underage, right? All of us are already aware of the stories involving Aaliyah, Beyonce, Foxy Brown, right? If people start talking about Does he have any other kids or whatever? People go, oh, I heard this person with Blue and Free from 106 and Park, and because we were there all these years following these artists. You know what I'm saying? And the internet is gonna do that. The internet is gonna do that. All this information is there, and I just spent 10 minutes. I said after I look up, this new murder for hire that's now being placed on Durk. Let me just spend 10 minutes and pull up old shit related to sliding, not for Vaughn now, for D Thang, and see what I come up with. And if I come up with it in 10 minutes, imagine somebody like a detective that's been on this shit since April last year.
There's also been a lot of speculation in these comments that the people that lost their lives were actually just friends or affiliates of D Thang, with this seemingly referenced in Lil Durk's own lyrics where he says, on the track Me Off, if you can't get the main one, then you better get his guys. But to make things even more scary, apparently there's also an alternate ending to the track Me Off, where Durk basically says that nobody hears about his getbacks because people don't know about it, and that you can find it out on the news rather than his songs. In addition to that, a lot of other people have pointed out that further social media posts that circulate see Lil Durk suggesting that Get Back has been gotten, like this post with a diamond-encrusted D Thang piece on top of a pile of cash, and the caption, "Standing and stood on business for you, broski. Long live D."
Okay. So I mean, technically, people, right?
Where Durk basically said,
nobody. Let me find that right there. Technically, if it's me, I don't want to go to jail because I posted a picture of a diamond encrusted belt buckle or whatever that says D Thang, and I put it on top of a stack of money. I don't want to go to jail for that. But we understand what these artists have been doing for years. If you listen to Lil Durk, if you just go put on a Lil Durk playlist and you hear all these implications, all these subliminals, all these references to what he has done behind certain disagreements, certain issues, certain beefs, not Little Vaughn, King Von, D Thang. Let's say we just put it in the form of artistic ability, right? That's all he's doing. He's just being creative. He's just rapping this shit. That would then make him the fakest nigga ever. We can't have it both ways. If you are going to say Lil Durk stands on business, like his post right here, he really lives what he raps. He's a real gangster. He's a real street nigga. He's a real BD. Whatever you're gonna put on his reputation behind the actual lyrics that he's rapping about, right? Then you, as a fan or as a supporter or as a listener, you got to stand there. You can't say, "Oh, Durk is a real one," but then when it's time for this shit, turn around and say, "No, all the shit that he's rapping is just him trying to live in somebody else's skin. He's fronting. He ain't lived none of that shit. He's the fakest rapper out here." I'm sure his lawyer will portray that, right? Now that he's jammed up, right? And there's no pun on jammed up. But oh my God. But think about it. Is he real? Or is this is all bullshit in his lyrics? Because it's not one instance like the first indictment, the scream, go. It's not just that. I said in prior streams, that's far from the worst reference for all of these alleged shootings or killings. But let's continue. Because we can't do it. We can't be hypocrites with this shit. Y'all gotta make y'all minds up. When thing that another nigga we thang. The night my brother died, if you was dead, just know you died. Bring that back for me. When thing that another nigga we thang. The night my brother died, if you was dead, just know you died too. Asked the ops from over west, next day they ass was down too. That's my shit too. I like that song. When thing that another nigga we thang. The night my brother died, if you was dead, just know you died too. Get caught hanging with the ops and you're gonna get your ass smoked. Get caught liking the ops post, we put you in that same boat. I get your cousin the back door. You think this fame folk. That's my shit. Love that track. Let's just keep going. Let's just bring up some other references while we're here. Why slow up? Keep going. Keep going.
Let them play like we ain't who we spanked back in the summertime. Spank them late, we get back out of date cause he ain't come outside. Fans pick up them cases who got shot down by the other side. Slide well, you better go look up cases since my brother died.
It doesn't stop. I don't mean to laugh, but it doesn't. The references, this is just a couple. Let me pull like 5 or 10 up real quick just for the sake of this stream. This is all old shit.
And just in case things weren't obvious enough, going back to Lil Durk's lyrics on the remix of Nardo Wick's Who Want, where Durk said, "Got it back in, but y'all just don't know," he seems to link his get back to that earlier gas station with the lyric, "Better do what Nardo says, cause dudes will die for pumping gas." The apparent get back happened at a gas station, and Lil Durk is literally on tracks here saying people die pumping gas. It's honestly hard not to take all of this in and think, you know what, let's just leave Lil Durk alone, because I'm not sure mocking him for not sliding is such a good idea after all. But listen guys, this is just my opinion. This is just a little bit of Reddit conjecture. No one's been convicted. No definitive sources say that these incidents are connected or strictly get backs. And I'll tell you what, if there's one thing that Lil Durk is truly a talent at, it's making music and talking about that stuff. But there is absolutely no strict evidence that he was
until you actually get indicted. You see how he closed that out? He was leaving room for not sarcasm, but saying, "Hey folks, but hey, I'm just here piecing this all together, right, as a journalist, and you know, nobody's indicted." Fast forward, there actually people are indicted, including Durk. You know, this is all conjecture. This is just Reddit reading. This is just the streets. This is just the internet putting the puzzle together. But hey, don't listen to me. That's what he just said, right? In the past. Fast forward, look at this shit. And we talk about lyrics in court. Let me tell you about the absolute worst case scenario when it relates to lyrics in court. Let's say it's all artistry. People don't necessarily get found guilty or convicted incorrectly. But what if he gets found guilty? This is the feds with this high-ass conviction rate. What if he actually had nothing to do with any of these murder for hires? But some of these lyrics come into the actual indictments. They're used as evidence. That jury goes back, they deliberate, and they say, you know what, guilty. And he faces life behind this shit. Are they ever going to stop rapping this shit? I would like to think at some point, artists, rappers, if there's anything that happens in the streets that comes from a place of reality, a place of real street activity, don't rap anything close to it. And because if you're lying, then you're actually shitting on your dad. If Durk gets on a song and says, my brother was killed, and the next day on that other side, niggas was down too. If he's fronting, that would mean that he's actually shitting on his brother's name by rapping that some bullshit on his deceased brother for clout. So which one is it? Would he are we gonna say Durk is willing to use his deceased brother for clout, or are we gonna say, damn, he might be talking that? Which one is it? And that's why I say, even if it's from a place of artistry, right, it's not worth rapping it at all. If something really, really happened in reality in the streets, rappers shouldn't say anything even subliminal towards it. It's going to go into the indictment, and it's going to come right into court, and then you're going to sit in jail for months, years plus, whatever. Young Thug just sat down for 2 years fighting this shit. Guilty or not, 2 years of his life. You only live once, 2 years. So this shit was just put out. They say days, if y'all was here when we read the XXL article, days before he's going to see about possible bond. And ironically, this pops up. So let me guess. He's going to get bond now? Let's say he gets denied bond and he's like Diddy. He's just got to sit there. More lyrics used against him. Y'all want to keep rapping it though? Okay. All right. More backstory. And let me say this. This is all from a place of respect. Rest in peace to all involved. Like I said, man, the whole BD and GD war has claimed too many lives. And this is all alleged. You don't know who's guilty of what and who's innocent of what, but there are a lot of things for us to reference, and then we go from there, right? We continue to discuss it, but let's get a little bit more backstory on Lil Durk and his brother D Thang, and it says Lil Durk kill his hours after he was. So this is a slide for D Thang type of video right here, and I just want to see some of the backstory.
Now at 6, the brother of local rapper Lil
Just to
Durk is
continue to
dead
catch
after
hate.
shooting at a club in Harvey this weekend. A police officer also injured.
I put rappers on. But that man Durk brother was a real nigga, sir, and I can't believe that man got killed. I can't believe that man got killed. Durk, it's time to fucking slide, nigga. It's time to fucking slide. Fuck wrong with a nigga? It's time to slide, you hear me? It's time to fucking slide.
D Thang, whose real name is Dante Banks Jr., was the older brother of the well-known Chicago rapper Lil Durk. D Thang was a prominent figure in the Chicago music scene, often working behind the scenes to support his brother's career and managing various aspects of their OTF.
Jay, I like this one. I like this comment right here. When Drake or a soft rapper talk about dropping bodies, it's the, oh, he isn't built like that. When it's a Durk or a Von rapping about that life, they are monsters. I like that comment. It seems like what happens is a contradiction gets created. Here's the solution to both sides of your comment. Simply being true to who you are. So if you are, and I'm not gonna say Drake, but if you happen to be the rapper who really ain't about none of that, you didn't come up like that, that's not your culture, that's not your background, that's not your upbringing, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be rapping that shit. And we should put pressure on artists to say, stop that shit. Like, if we seen an artist come up a certain way and we seen them follow a certain type of presentation for years, and then all of a sudden they turn into these stone cold killers, I'm telling you, like nothing makes people change faster than hitting them where it hurts, their pockets, right? So we shouldn't support it. And on the other side now, when you talk about the Durks or the Vons, if they're being who they are, catch when I said that, if they're being who they are, who they truly are, which is gangsters, then they would just follow code. Code is this. Now, let me be even more brutally honest for a second. Some of these smaller rappers, right, that's trying to get on, they may diss people. They may have to brag about some of the shit that they done did. Even I feel like that's a big case even in New York drill. Like some of these young teenagers or whatnot, like they want to get the notoriety and they got to get their foot in the door. And these record labels support it, the fans support it, the views are higher. The moment you come out and say, yeah, we done slid on this person, or we done did XYZ to that person, right? So they rapping this street shit, right? So I understand, like it's even opportunity that comes with some of these smaller guys. But when we talk about a King Von, I don't even got to go all the way up to Lil Durk. When we talk about a King Von was on, and he still didn't stop. When you watch the King Von documentary from Trap Lil Ross, King Von relished in a lot of street shit, and he was on. He was there. He had caught on. He started having a bigger following. He was already endorsed by Durk. He already had the backstory, the street story, the image, everything. And it's not like he was like, okay, I'm here now. Let me stop. He didn't. Like, you could just see like that was part of him. And that's one thing I guess you could say he was real. He just never switched who he was. And sometimes they say, like, when you get on or when you get to places of success, certain things got to stop. Certain people that you hang around, certain things you did in the past. I just seen a video with Rem. Shout out to Rem. She was talking about, she was involved in a sale, and she had a hot single out at the time. It might have been Lean Back or whatever. And Fat Joe checked her. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, we here now. So everything else from the past needs to stop. Right? And once again, if you're being who you are, which is a gangster, then you follow gangster code, which is, but
Only the family collective. Unfortunately, D-Thang's life came to a tragic end in June 2021. D-Thang was shot in the head outside Club O, a nightclub located in Harvey, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. This area, like many parts of Chicago, has been ruled to be a gun violence and crime scene. Eyewitnesses gave their sides of the story that on June 5th, 2021, D-Thang was partying at Club O with friends and wasn't aware that he was partying in his ops territory that night. According to reports of what happened that very day, an altercation occurred outside the club, which led to a gun battle between the parties involved. D-Thang was ready to leave before he was shot in the head and later died at the scene. Multiple shots were fired, and lots of weapons were found at the scene. Also, a Harvey City Police Department officer was hit, and the reasons behind the altercation remain unclear. A policeman named Officer Derek Muhammad with the Harvey City Police Department noticed that one of the patrons at Club O had a gun. After confronting the ninjas that were involved in the fights, it turned out worse, and the officer was shot in the thigh. Fortunately, he survived and later recovered from his injuries. The incident was quickly labeled another tragic example of the ongoing violence affecting.
You see how we said earlier, the article read that this was an indictment that went in April last year, but it was unsealed this week. And we spent time talking about, like, damn, when they on you, they will be patient, even if you're still out there breaking laws or putting in work. If they on you, they will be patient. Look at what he just said. The night of D Thang's shooting, when he was killed, an officer was hit as well. We know that there's just certain things that just never get let go. A police officer shot, or a shooting like in the Gold Coast, like what happened with FBG Duck, right? Certain place, like even this Beverly Hills shit with Quando Rondo's cousin, Lil Pop. Location, or the person that was killed, or a cop getting shot, or it's just certain things where it's just like, that's not going away. That's not getting swept under the rug, right? I didn't even know about, or if I heard that, I didn't remember that the night of D Thang, that an officer was hit as well. Wow.
Affecting the Chicago rap community. A few weeks after D Thang's passing, 2 names of the suspects began to circulate on social media and in the streets of Chicago. Both of these men were rival gang members to OTF D Thang. Just 1 month after D Thang died, the 2 suspected ninjas were hit at a gas station in Chicago, which made the accusations true that they were also involved in the killing of D Thang. On that very day, Lil Durk and D Thang's best friends were seen posting images of D Thang and strongly dissing the 2 suspects who died, saying that it might have been carried out in retaliation for D Thang's hit. Even after the news spread about D Thang's passing, many people blamed D Thang for choosing the wrong location to hang out with friends. That location was an unsafe part of town and in the territory of the Gangsta Disciples, or GDs, his ops. According to the history regarding the hookah lounge of Club O, most people would have preferred not to even go near Club O and would have instead played it safe, but D Thang seemed not to care. A lot of fans of D Thang even kicked against him for being at Club O all alone. One said, RIP to him. Someone with that much status shouldn't be caught clubbing in Chicago unless it's when they're doing a show. Shit sad, with all that money, I would get a bunch of security. Another fan expressed his concern about Club O. No disrespect, but being at Club O is nasty as fuck. For Durk to be dropping the biggest album of his career and his brother kicking it at a hood-ass strip club is wild. Harvey is the hood. That area is kinda industrial, but it's still the hood. Maxwell's 24 hours and hotels for the hoes right there. Once you cross over to Homewood, you're good. Can't believe he was there. Another fan said, exactly. Club O had broken down police cars in their lots for months. I haven't been.
Isn't that wild too? Because I've followed the drill scene for a while. You know, I've always been a fan of the music, but I've never heard of D Thang being like somebody super active, or I mean, I don't know the guy's background. I'm not really familiar with stories around him on some street shit. But isn't it wild, as big as a figure or as big as a target or as big as a trophy that Lil Durk could be? Imagine being his blood brother, which would mean that you can't party. You can't go out, right? Unless it's a certain way. a bunch of security with you, and you could only party in certain places, because it's just, once again, that whole BD&G war. These people could look at each other as literal trophies. Like, we hear Lil Durk rap lyrics like, if you can't get the one that I pay, get somebody, you know what I mean? And just imagine if it's somebody that is a Lil Durk energy. I'm not trying to, put killings on anybody, anybody's responsibility like that. I feel like that could be disrespectful. But just imagine, man, where it's just like, oh, that's Lil Durk's brother. You know? That's crazy. That's crazy. And that's where, even it has to be the Little Durks of the world, the Chief Keefs of the world on the other side. Like some of the more prominent figures at the top that gets everybody underneath to understand a ceasefire or a peace movement. And something like that could even take years, like that level of peace, right? If it's possible. And I think we all pray that it would be possible, but like, you can be the top guy and you could be on tour, you could be tucked away somewhere in the hills, but your family and the people that you're affiliated with, it's like a constant danger for them as well. Ah, damn. Allegedly.
Been over there in maybe a year, but I never fucked around over there. This club is maybe 5 to 10 minutes from where Reese got shot. Ninjas on the Grown Man go to Atlantis or something in Indiana or something in the city. Club O is for Harvey ninjas, and they ninjas. Everyone else is food. You got a 50-50 chance there. Before DThang died, some posts seemed to trigger his ops, who threw shots at him. In the weeks before his passing, DThang made a series of dissing posts calling out CMB and the Gutter Gang. Two gangs from the south side of Chicago had an active beef with 072 Dog Pounds, a gang OTF DThang was known to be affiliated with. In one of his posts, he directly disrespected CMB and the Gutter Gang. He mentioned that he didn't even know who his opponents were anymore because all of his real ops were deceased, which was taken as a disrespectful statement by his ops. So, because of what he did, which went viral, it seemed that it was the CMB gang that killed DThang. But after DThang's death, a lot of ninjas went down, and a large number of reports were received from the Chicago streets that DThang's killers were hunted down one by one, and the final member of the alleged group that killed him was shot down the following week after his passing. The crew that the streets believe were responsible for DThang's murder were reportedly affiliated with the Dump Street gang in the West Inglewood section of Chicago. Over the past month after DThang's death, about a half dozen members of the gang were shot or killed. The media received social media reports that the shootings and killings were all retaliation for the gang's alleged involvement in DThang's murder. To show his evidence, Lil Durk posted it on IG to express his satisfaction that DThang's killers had been gunned down. Even some popular blogs posted the same to claim that DThang's killer was brought to justice. Well, you should know that in the streets, it's blood for blood and a tooth for a tooth. That's why the OTF gang had a slide in for their homie. For Lil Durk, if there's anything we know about him, is that he loves to make his music about what is happening or what has happened around him. You may not know or see it at first, but if you pay close attention to the lyrics and connect the missing dots, you'll definitely be able to relate to his lyrics and know what he's talking about. However, Lil Durk has never stopped dropping music, but it seemed that the tragedy of losing different homies in the circle affected him that much. Trust me, if you ever lost someone so dear to you, you will know how painful it is to lose 3 loved ones for less than 3 years. Lil Durk released a song that went viral on all platforms. He revealed some hidden secrets we might not have noticed, but they were all in his song's lyrics. Many folks didn't pay attention to the lyrics because he talked about D-Thang. He said, "My auntie prayed to the Christ. I made a way through the night. Yeah, we bred, and I gave her a flight. My brother stayed with a pipe. He just ain't having it that night. I hate he played with his life. His killer paid for his price. I brought it straight from the dice. Yeah, racketeering his change. I wish he took my advice." Lil Durk blamed himself in the song where he said he wished D-Thang was with his pipe that night, which means on any occasion you can hardly catch him lacking on the streets, but on that day he was killed and D-Thang was not armed. He was just out to enjoy himself and Lil Durk was not even with him to maybe defend him. This brings us back to the third line of the lyrics, which says, "Regret I gave her a flight." Lil Durk probably blamed himself for what happened to D-Thang, saying that if he had not given someone a ride, he would have been with his brother, who wouldn't have been killed that way, but sadly, D-Thang was alone and unarmed that day. While Durk's friends expressed sympathy for his loss, Tekashi decided to go after him and his rival and mock them all. In response to a headline on DJ Academic's Instagram page, Tekashi mocked the Chicago rapper. "I Lil Durk, tell the truth about your gang, man. They really dying," he commented alongside several laughing emojis. The notorious troll left a series of other disrespectful comments across social media, including on Durk's post promoting his Voice of the Heroes merch. "Your brother just died, and you want to sell sweaters," he wrote with laughing emojis. Also, when King Von died and his cousin Newski, Tekashi never failed to taunt Durk on social media. "You ain't killed shit, you let your man die," he rapped on Zaza. "They killed your cousin and your man, and you still ain't do shit." Durk, who once said that 6ix9ine's camp offered him $3 million to keep their feud going, has vowed to never address 6ix9ine again. "I ain't gonna never respond to this ninja ever, fucking again," he wrote in August after dissing Tekashi on Drake's Laugh Now, Cry Later. However, he said that he turned it down. Tekashi was taunting Durk to get back on D Thang and King Von, but Ninja never knew that Durk had already brought their killers to justice. In some of the lyrics, Durk claimed that he is, in fact, on get backs, that he is sliding, and that he has delivered pain to his ops. On his track Pissed Me Off, which was a tribute to his brother D Thang and King Von, Durk says a number of things that could be seen as accepting the fact that he has either indeed gotten back or that he's going to. At the start of the song, he said, "You ain't get back for your mans, you in the club like he ain't dead. You wouldn't say that if you ain't gotten back for your mans. Let's get it." Then he said, "Grab a gun if you ain't with it, put up money for a gun." So he's literally saying you should get back. Grab yourself a gun, and if you ain't trying to shoot at least, put up the money for a gun. And then he goes further, put up money for a hot car, a stolen car, or put up money for a bond, so to bail out the shooter once they're done the work. Durk also said he got killers that he loves, and they don't rap. "If I die, just don't lie. Man, you better slide. And if you can't get the main one, then you better get his guys." He said, "Phone them slid the next day. This shit cannot die down." Durk is actually responding to all his ops, saying he's sliding, they're sliding, and they will all slide in for their dead homie for justice to be served. All the same, as Durk claimed, D-Thang's killer was gunned down that week he was killed. However, there have been rumors about D-Thang being involved in FBG Duck's death, though it was direct but indirect. So, judging from how the whole gang beef started, it was said that there could be some hidden connections that led to FBG Duck's death. The evidence revealed itself when Lil Durk, a Chicago rapper, released the deluxe edition of his latest album, The Voice, with Memphis rapper Pooh Shiesty, which attracted a lot of attention. The song Should Have Ducked addressed the murder of rival Chicago rapper FBG Duck. FBG Duck was shot and killed outside a Dolce & Gabbana store in Chicago's Gold Coast neighborhood last August 2020. In the lyrics, Durk calls Duck a goofy and continues to diss his name and his gang affiliation, saying, "She asked me, how high do I get? I told her high as a duck, and man, he talking about gang and this bitch. He ain't got back from that one shit, and his gang ain't on shit." Durk also referenced the 2018 incident where rapper FBG Wooski survived being shot in the head at the funeral of a fellow rapper. Durk hinted at the song in a tweet shortly before he dropped it, saying, "I'm done name dropping and dead after my deluxe, in songs only though." Every time Lil Durk loses a person, it's almost like someone is trying to punish him. And that's the streets for you, because a lot is going on and a lot will happen. So what do you think about Lil Durk's ruthless return for D-Thang?
All alleged, of course, but I saw a comment in the chat. Somebody said Lil Durk ain't on nothing. He ain't about that. He don't be doing nothing. I'm not trying to put no charges on Lil Durk. This is all alleged. I mean, he's sitting where he's sitting because those people feel like they got something on him, obviously, right? But why do people this ain't 6ix9ine before he was snitching. Like when 6ix9ine came out, you could really look at him and see like he's being empowered by the elements around him. You didn't smell that, you didn't read that, you didn't see that on him, right? Durk, we've watched Durk since he was a fucking kid. Gang banging and you know what I'm saying? Like, why don't people believe that Durk could be involved in shit when he gets to the point of being a multi-millionaire and he's still putting himself around alleged killers? If y'all are gonna believe that King Von is a real shooter and a real killer and he done beat bodies and whatnot, obviously, and got out and was even arrested for a shooting with Lil Durk and Zoo, right? If Durk is, or if y'all gonna believe that about Von, one of the most official street niggas to ever come through here and rap about the streets and all the shit he's actually been in. Durk put himself right next to Von. And there's other people that we see in these we covered one of the videos of Didi and the stuff that he's been through, and he's right there still in all the videos, right next to Durk. And look at Zoo. And y'all look at Zoo. You know, these guys all got history and certain types of Zoo got a charge where he beat a murder too, right? Him and Von got songs where they both talk about beat a body together or whatever, because they both had similar charges and shit, right? These people are all around Durk. Durk is rapping like, oh, send Zoo and send Didi and send this person. He's got the alleged killers around him still, right? And it's not even just like, oh, I'm just rapping to hype them up. Some of these guys have murder charges from the past on them. And now he's a multi-millionaire. So if he needs to drop a bag in any of these situations, the same way y'all want to say King Von, who is way beneath Lil Durk when it comes to success or money attained. Everybody says that video, he was going to O Block and breaking down $100,000 with the guys. So why do you think that Lil Durk, with this whole element around him that he seemed to have never left behind, why everybody calling well, I shouldn't say everybody. Why people in the chat talk about Lil Durk ain't doing nothing? Or it's not, he don't have that in him. I remember all the way back when Game was he was in his image, right? The only person that seemed to turn him down back then was Lil Durk. Why? This was a long time ago, Lil Durk. Niggas respected his handle. You don't have to be the shooter. You don't like Sammy the Bull got more bodies under his belt than John Gotti. But John Gotti gonna get way more charges than Sammy the Bull. And he's gonna get the higher profile and target from the feds. Why? He's the face, he's the money. When you send the shooter, you obviously get the charge for murder too. You don't have to pull the like the person that doesn't pull the trigger is sometimes looked at and labeled as just as dangerous, if not more, than the actual shooter. He's the one that says go. And pun intended, green light, go, green light, go. Right? The alleged shooters might be chilling unless the person with the power and the money says go. So he don't have to be standing over everybody. So why I'm seeing comments talking about Durk ain't like that when he's got these people around him from young all the way fast forward to today. He's obviously been respected by some of his peers from back then all the way to today. When it looks like people are getting retribution and things are happening from back then all the way to today. Or maybe y'all go ahead and sleep on these people. I don't sleep on somebody I never even heard of before, let alone a Lil Durk, who comes from that and who obviously has kept that element around him this whole time. Go look up how many mugshots fucking Lil Durk has. He ain't on shit. What's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with y'all? Don't say that, people. Like that's a little naive, but a very, very slim chance of Lil Durk getting bond with them bringing this second murder for hire allegation out now. Very, very, very slim chance for him getting bond now. But we will continue to follow it. But shit definitely just got worse for Durk. Sorry, it's true.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss making decisions, my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry It's True podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.